Welcome back to The Clean Truth by Roobi.
Thanks for having me back.
So this is actually our 30th episode, which is pretty exciting. And today's deep dive is titled, The Part of Your Air Fryer You're Probably Never Cleaning.
A very fitting title, honestly.
Yeah, right, because today we're setting out on a very specific mission. We're exploring this incredibly eye-opening article by Alan Grinbaum, and it's all about air fryer maintenance.
Which is something almost everyone gets wrong.
Exactly. The premise here really hits close to home for, well, basically anyone who cooks. I mean, most people will make dinner, pop out the basket, give the tray a scrub, and just call it a day.
Right. They think they're done.
But we completely overlook these hidden areas inside the machine. Places where grease, stray food particles, and just a massive amount of residue silently accumulate over time.
And that accumulation is something we really need to take seriously.
Because it's not just gross, right?
No, not at all. When you get buildup inside the heating elements, the
Yeah.
exhaust vents, and those dark upper interior surfaces, it actively sabotages the machine.
Wow, sabotages how exactly?
Well, it alters the airflow, meaning your food just doesn't cook evenly anymore. Plus, it introduces these bitter, burnt flavors to your meals.
If nobody wants that.
Exactly. And over time, it seriously degrades the overall lifespan of the appliance. It's wild how these hard-to-reach areas are so commonly ignored.
Because neglecting them is basically the direct cause of those lingering kitchen odors.
Yep. The odors, sudden bouts of smoke, and drastically reduced efficiency. All of it.
Which means effective appliance care really has to go beyond the visible surfaces we interact with every day. It requires occasional, deliberate, deep cleaning.
It absolutely does.
And that naturally connects to what we're looking at today with Roobi's plant-based air fryer cleaning products. We're going to dive into how proper cleaning helps maintain peak performance, absolute cleanliness, and real longevity for your favorite kitchen gadget. Let's uncover the hidden part of your air fryer that could be affecting every meal you cook.
I love that. To truly understand what's going wrong inside that appliance, we first have to look at the actual mechanics of air frying itself.
Right, because the mess doesn't just, magically teleport to the ceiling of the machine.
Exactly.
But before we get into the cleaning techniques, I do have to push back a little on Grinbaum's core premise here.
Whoa, okay, let's hear it.
Well, the entire marketing pitch for air fryers, the whole reason they blew up in popularity is that they use little to no oil.
That is the big selling point, yeah.
So if I'm not pouring vegetable oil into a vat, where's all this grease coming from in the first place? I mean, it feels a bit like thinking a diet soda won't stain your teeth just because it's diet,
That is a great analogy, and it's the exact paradox most owners face. The confusion really comes down to understanding what an air fryer actually is.
Okay, lay it on us.
Despite the name, it is not a fryer at all. It's actually a highly compressed, incredibly powerful convection oven.
Right, so just hot air blowing around.
Well, hot air, but you have a very intense heat source situated extremely close to the food. And right above that heating coil is a high-speed fan.
Oh, okay.
Now, even if you don't add a single drop of cooking oil, the foods you are cooking, especially things like chicken wings, bacon, or, a marbled steak, they contain their own intrinsic fats.
Sure, the fat renders out as the meat cooks, but that fat drips downward into the bottom tray, away from the food. I mean, that's the whole appeal of the basket design.
It is, and gravity does pull the heavy liquid downward, but the fan changes the physics of the environment entirely.
How so?
As that intense heat renders the internal fat, it liquefies. Then that high-powered fan kicks in, and it's essentially creating a miniature tornado inside the cooking chamber.
Oh, wow. So it's not just a gentle breeze.
Not at all. The rapid circulating airflow catches microscopic droplets of that rendered fat, along with moisture and tiny food particles, and it aggressively pulls them upward.
Oh, I see. So it's not just blowing hot air down, it's pulling aerosolized fat back up into the systems like a literal grease cyclone.
A grease cyclone. That is a perfect way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And those aerosolized droplets get slammed right into the heating coil and the blades of the fan itself.
Yuck.
Yeah. And here is where the chemistry becomes really problematic, because those components are sitting at nearly 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right, they're insanely hot.
Exactly. So that aerosolized fat hits the hot metal and undergoes a chemical reaction called polymerization.
Wait, polymerization? I've heard that term used when talking about seasoning cast iron skillets.
You nailed it. That's exactly the same process. When you season a cast iron pan, you are intentionally baking thin layers of fat onto the iron.
Right, to make it non-stick.
Yes. The intense heat causes the molecular structure of the lipid chains to break apart and cross-link into a hard, slick polymer. You are essentially creating a natural plastic coating,
Which is great for cooking eggs.
highly desirable on a cast iron pan. But it is an absolute nightmare when it happens on the intricate metal coils and fan blades of an electrical appliance.
Oh man, so it just builds up.
Every single time you cook, you are adding another microscopic layer of baked-on, plasticized grease to areas you never even look at.
So we are accidentally seasoning the internal mechanics of our air fryers with like vaporized chicken wing fat.
That is exactly what is happening.
That explains so much. If anyone listening has ever experienced this, you know exactly what we're talking about. You watch the basket, it looks spotless, but the next time you turn the machine on just to heat up a simple pastry, your kitchen smells like week-old burnt bacon.
Or worse, the machine unexpectedly fills your kitchen with smoke halfway through cooking.
Right, the dreaded smoke alarm trigger.
Yep. If you are experiencing smoke or odors, your appliance is loudly telling you that its heating element is coated in old, polymerized fat, and that fat is now burning for the second, third, or fourth time.
Okay, so the grease cyclone is baking a plastic-like resin onto the components. Let's talk about how to actually fix it, starting from the bottom up.
Sounds good.
I know we just said people wash the basket and drawer regularly, but a quick rinse with dish soap is only fine for fresh, daily grease. How do we get into the microscopic crevices where regular soap fails?
That's the real challenge.
Because when we want to do a real deep clean to address the buildup Grimbaum talks about, my usual instinct is to just dump baking soda and vinegar in there. It foams up, it feels like it's working. Why wouldn't that handle the tough stuff?
I'm so glad you brought that up because that is one of the most persistent cleaning myths out there.
Wait, really? The volcano trick doesn't work?
Not for this. When you mix baking soda, which is a base, with vinegar, which is an acid, the bubbling you see is just carbon dioxide gas being released.
So it's just a chemical reaction for show.
Exactly. It looks dramatic, but once the fizzing stops, you're essentially left with water and a mild salt called sodium acetate.
Huh.
That mixture has zero chemical ability to break down cross-linked polymer grease. You're just giving your dirty basket a mild saltwater bath.
Oh, wow. So the bubbling is just a theatrical performance. It's not actually degreasing anything.
Correct. To break down polymerized lipids, you really need specific chemistry. This is where we elevate the wash using the soak method.
The soak method. Okay, walk me through that.
We rely specifically on Roobi's air fryer cleaning powder. The powder utilizes plant-based enzymes, specifically lipases, which are biologically designed to seek out and break the chemical bonds of fat molecules.
That makes a lot more sense than salt water. So what are the actual steps to use those enzymes effectively?
First, you give the drawer a quick manual rinse to get rid of any loose crumbs. Then you take 1 sachet of the Roobi air fryer cleaning powder and dissolve it in 1 liter of warm water directly inside the drawer of the air fryer itself.
Got it. And the basket.
You place the inner basket inside so it is completely submerged in that enzyme solution.
So the drawer just becomes its own self-contained wash basin. That's convenient.
Very. And you let it sit for about 5 minutes to allow the enzymes to begin attaching to the grease.
Okay, 5 minutes. Easy enough.
But here is the crucial step from the source material, the aha moment that changes everything. You do not just let it sit on your kitchen counter.
Oh, where does it go?
After that 5-minute resting soak, you carefully insert the drawer, still filled with the water and cleaning solution, back into the air fryer. And you turn the machine on at its maximum temperature for exactly 8 minutes.
Oh, wait. Thermal activation. We are literally cooking the cleaning solution.
You are indeed.
I have to admit, putting a drawer full of water into an electrical heating appliance sounds a bit counterintuitive. What does heating it up actually achieve from a chemical standpoint?
Think about how temperature affects molecular movement. Heat acts as a powerful catalyst. By bringing the cleaning solution up to temperature, you are exponentially increasing its kinetic energy.
So the water molecules are moving faster.
They become highly agitated, yes. Furthermore, the intense heat causes the microscopic pores of the nonstick surface to expand slightly.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, it allows the highly active plant enzymes to penetrate underneath the hardened polymerized grease layers.
It's basically creating a self-cleaning microclimate inside the machine.
That's the perfect description. It literally loosens the stubborn baked-on residue from the inside out.
Which means no scrubbing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It lifts away from the nonstick coating without requiring any harsh abrasive scrubbing on your part.
That is incredibly smart. It's hijacking the machine's own core function, its intense heat, to facilitate its own cleaning.
It's very efficient.
So after those 8 minutes are up and the machine chimes, you carefully pull out the drawer. I imagine the water looks pretty horrific at this point.
Oh, it will be incredibly murky. You will see floating layers of amber grease that you didn't even realize were stuck to the walls.
Disgusting, but satisfying.
Very. From there, you just discard the dirty water, give any remaining spots a very gentle wipe with a soft brush, and rinse it thoroughly with clean water.
Okay, so thanks to thermal activation, the basket is pristine. But now we have to move on to the hard part. The main event. The hidden engine.
Yes, the heating element.
My first instinct here, having just learned about all the grease caked onto the ceiling of the machine, is to just grab a wet, soapy sponge, reach up inside, and start scrubbing the coil.
Please don't do that. That is a guaranteed way to permanently short out your appliance.
Really? Because of the electronics?
Yes. You have to remember that the heating coil is directly wired into the main power supply and sits inches away from the sensitive internal motor. You cannot introduce dripping water into that housing.
Okay, so how do we clean an electronic component without ruining the machine? It sounds intimidating, like having to work under the hood of your own car.
There's a very specific safe methodology for tackling the heating element. It's actually quite simple once you know the steps.
Safety first, then. Step 1 has to be ensuring the unit is entirely unplugged from the wall.
Unplugged and completely 100% cool to the touch. Never attempt this after you've just cooked.
Definitely. Burnt fingers are not the goal here.
Once it is safe to handle, you perform the crucial physical step that most people have never done. You pick up the entire air fryer and flip it completely upside down on your counter.
Which is such a shocking experience.
It really is.
The first time I did this after reading Grinbaum's article, I flipped it over, grabbed my phone flashlight, and looked down at the coil and the fan. Seeing that thick layer of brown, tacky grease caked onto the metal, it provokes a visceral reaction.
Oh, absolutely.
You suddenly realize the air you're using to cook your food is blowing directly over a layer of old, rancid grime.
Once you see it, you truly cannot unsee it. But now that it's exposed, we can address it properly.
Okay, so what's the tool for this?
The specific tool for this job is the Roobi air fryer cleaning spray. And what's fascinating here is the physical property of this spray. It is formulated specifically as a foam.
Interesting. Why does it need to be a foam? Why not just use a standard liquid spray bottle like you would for a kitchen counter?
It comes down to the physics of fluid dynamics, specifically gravity and dwell time.
Okay, science us.
Even when the machine is upside down, the heating coil is a complex, curved surface suspended above the fan blades. If you use a traditional liquid spray, gravity will cause that liquid to immediately drip and run down the sides.
Right, it wouldn't stay put.
It will slide right off the coil, failing to clean it, and potentially seep into the electrical housing.
Ah, so the foam changes the physical application. It defies gravity.
Yes. The foam is designed with a specific rheology to cling to vertical and inverted surfaces. When you spray it directly onto the fan blades in the heating coil, the microbubbles expand and grab hold of the metal.
So it just sticks there like shaving cream.
Basically, yeah. They suspend the active cleaning agents directly against the polymerized grease. This gives the formula the necessary dwell time to sit there and break down the chemical bonds without dripping into the sensitive electronics.
That makes perfect sense. So you let the foam sit and do the heavy lifting for a few minutes. I assume we still need to agitate it a bit.
Just slightly. You take a small, soft bristled brush. Honestly, even a clean old toothbrush works brilliantly. And you gently scrub the hard-to-reach spots around the curves of the coil.
And it comes off easily.
Because the foam has already broken down the polymerization, the grease lifts away effortlessly. Once you've loosened it, you take a dry microfiber cloth and simply wipe the coil and the fan clean.
Just a dry cloth to wipe away the foam and the grease. No rinsing with a wet rag up there.
Keep water far away from the element. But that brings us to the vital final step.
Which is?
Once you have wiped it clean, you flip the machine back to its normal upright position, plug it back into the wall, and run a short 3-minute cycle at a low to mid temperature while the basket is empty.
Oh, I get it. It's like a burn-off cycle.
Exactly like the self-cleaning phase of a traditional oven, but on a micro scale. This 3-minute cycle safely evaporates and burns off any microscopic trace amounts of the cleaning foam or loosened residue that your cloth might have missed.
That's brilliant.
It neutralizes the environment and leaves the chamber completely ready for your next meal, permanently eliminating that old burnt smell.
It is incredibly satisfying to know that the whole system is actually clean, not just the part that sits on the counter.
Peace of mind for sure.
But, learning all this brings up a very modern temptation. We live in an era of convenience and people love shortcuts.
They do. Where are you going with this?
Well, I look at the box my air fryer came in, and right there in big bold letters it says dishwasher safe basket. So if the basket is technically dishwasher safe, why go through this whole 20-minute thermal activation soak process? Why not just toss it in the dishwasher and let the machine do the heavy lifting?
This raises a really important distinction between what is technically safe
Yeah.
and what is actually good for the longevity of your belongings. The dishwasher debate is a classic one.
Right. So what's the verdict?
Yes, the basket and drawer of most air fryers are made of materials that will not melt or instantly warp in a dishwasher. But we have to look at the chemical reality of the environment inside a modern dishwasher.
It's basically a highly aggressive car wash in there.
I'd argue it's worse.
Yeah.
You have intense, sustained thermal shock from the hot water. But more importantly, dishwasher detergents are highly alkaline, usually sitting at a pH of 10 or 11.
Which is pretty harsh.
Very. They contain aggressive enzymes and often microabrasives designed to aggressively blast dried food off ceramic plates.
And the basket of an air fryer is coated in a delicate, non-stick PTFE material.
Precisely. Subjecting that delicate nonstick coating to the chemical warfare of a dishwasher will rapidly degrade it.
So it ruins the pan.
The highly alkaline environment attacks the microstructure of the coating. Over time, it will become brittle, it will start to flake off into your food, and suddenly your nonstick basket becomes a highly sticking basket.
Which defeats the whole purpose.
Hand washing with a targeted, gentle method like the heat-activated enzyme soak we discussed is fundamentally the better call. It removes the grease without attacking the coating.
Good to know. And just to be completely crystal clear, because I know someone out there is wondering, the main unit, the housing with the heating element we just scrubbed upside down, that never, ever goes in the dishwasher, right?
Never. Under no circumstances should the main unit or any electrical components go anywhere near a dishwasher or be submerged in water.
Okay, glad we established that.
Even if you see a viral video online suggesting a hack to wash the whole unit, do not do it. It will destroy the machine and create a massive electrical fire hazard.
Good. I am glad we're putting that myth to bed definitively. So let's talk about a practical schedule. We know how to do the quick wash, we know how to do the heat-activated deep soak, and we know how to flip the script and foam clean the coil.
Right, the full toolkit.
How often should we actually be doing these specific tasks? What is the actionable timeline for someone listening right now?
It breaks down into two separate manageable timelines. For the visible parts, the basket and the drawer, you should be doing a basic clean after every single use.
Okay, every time.
Yep. If you are cooking exclusively very low-fat foods, like, say, roasting some dry vegetables, you might stretch that to every 2 or 3 uses. But generally, clean the basket after you cook.
And what about the hidden engine, the heating element, and the fan?
For the heating element, you want to address that with the foam spray every 5 to 7 uses.
5 to 7, okay.
However, there is a major caveat. If you ever notice smoke, a burning smell, or even if your food seems to be cooking unevenly, you need to clean the coil instantly. Do not wait for the 5th use.
Because it's already a problem.
Built-up polymerized grease on the coil is usually the primary culprit for all 3 of those issues.
Honestly, every 5 to 7 uses really isn't that bad, especially considering the entire deep clean process. The basket soak plus the upside-down foam spray only takes about 20 minutes total.
And most of that time is completely hands-off.
Right. You're just waiting for the thermal activation or the burn-off cycle. When you reframe it like that, it transforms from this intimidating, grueling chore into just, well, basic rewarding maintenance.
That's the ideal way to look at it. We maintain the oil in our cars, we run diagnostic checks on our computers. Our high-heat kitchen appliances require the exact same respect to function properly.
I love that. Let's pull all these threads together. Today, we went on quite a journey inside a machine most of us use every single day.
We certainly did.
We learned how the grease cyclone pulls aerosolized fat upward, turning the hidden heating element into a sticky, polymerized mess. We broke down the chemistry of heat-activating Roobi's plant-based enzymes for a deep basket soak, rather than relying on the useless theater of baking soda and vinegar.
A very important myth to bust.
And we mastered the upside-down foam trick to safely degrease the electronic coil without causing a short circuit.
The overarching takeaway here is that this level of care isn't just about baseline hygiene.
Yeah.
Yes, a clean machine is a sanitary machine, but this is fundamentally about performance.
Right, getting the most out of your food.
Cleaning the hidden components ensures your food actually tastes the way the recipe intended without the ghost of last week's dinner altering the flavor. And it keeps your appliance running efficiently, saving you money and frustration for years to come.
It's about respecting the tools that feed us.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves us with a really fascinating concept to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Today, we learned that the most important part of an appliance is often the exact part we cannot see. The engine of the machine was completely hidden from view, doing all the hard work, collecting all the collateral damage, while we only focused on polishing the tray.
Wow. Yeah.
It makes you wonder if we've been completely ignoring the engine of our favorite kitchen gadget simply because it's out of sight. What other everyday tools, systems, or even relationships in our lives are we judging purely by their shiny covers, while totally neglecting the hidden mechanics that actually make them run?
Wow. That is definitely something to chew on. Next time you're polishing the surface of something, ask yourself what the engine looks like. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We highly encourage you to go to your kitchen, unplug your air fryer, and flip it upside down today if you dare. See you next time.